Welcome back, good friends.
Hello.
We are here again, and I'm so excited to do our first interview today, first of all. And we're about to bring you some juicy stuff and some really good advice.
Who's it going to be?
It's going to be you, Britt. It's
Look at the outfit. She is court ready.
Straight from the courtroom to my good friends. Can't wait to answer these questions.
Yeah, but first, I just want to catch up with you, my best friends. Not so much has been going on with me. I'm literally rewatching The Office right now. That's how boring it's been. And I have to know, what are you watching? Because I need a good show.
I will tell you a show story. I don't know that I'm going to say you have to watch it. But when I was traveling over the summer, I was quickly trying to download shows so that I could watch them on airplanes or other modes of transportation. Hunting Wives?
Oh my God, I just started it. My God.
I had no idea what to expect.
Do not
it just says it's top 10 Netflix.
Do not have your kids anywhere
I am
near
watching
you.
it sitting next to my daughter on the airplane. Okay, the flight attendants are passing me and it turns into a lesbian porn. Okay?
It's not just lesbian.
It is the weirdest show. I watched the first 4 episodes.
I've only done 2. Does it not get better?
Bizarre. First of all, the writing I think is terrible. I think the writing is terrible. I think the acting is terrible. I really don't think it's a good show.
It has some good actresses in there, which was part of the, and I was like, what am I watching? It was not what I expected from the title, from anything.
Guys, this is the most mousy, this character has she doesn't even know who she is.
Brittney
she
Snow?
goes from the first episode where she can't believe that she's at this Republican rally and guns and oh my God. And she's so deeply offended by it. And by episode 2, she has a gun. I'm seriously,
right.
Come
and
on.
By episode 3, she's come out of the closet. And by episode 4, I'm like, wait, what is happening?
Literally makes me not like her as a person, as a character. I'm I don't even like this girl because are you seriously that easily influenced?
Can I ask a question? Did you guys finish the series?
I did.
Did you?
I didn't. I stopped because I thought it was terrible.
I did. I downloaded all of it. I had a lot of plane rides.
I've only watched... Okay, because I've only watched 2 episodes. Is it worth it to finish?
I think there's better things out there, but I will tell you it continues to get more and more bizarre.
I just can't believe it. I feel like there is no plot.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, I cannot have anybody see my screen right now.
But it's not good spicy. It's come on. Come on.
Yeah.
It's shock value.
Absolutely.
TV. Okay. That's it. It's not it's not going down in history as the best show. I mean, I'm telling you, I think I stopped.
I know what you're going to say.
God, I'm addicted. I can't even stop.
People can't stop talking about this show.
I can't stop talking about The Gilded Age.
I have to watch
The Gilded Age. I watched the first 2 seasons before it
in
had the
season
hype.
2.
Brittney and I were starting to watch it. The acting starts off a little slow, and I now know why. They're all Broadway actors. They're not film screen actors. They're Broadway, so it's a different type of acting. But they get used to it. Meryl Streep's daughter plays in it. Carrie Coon is a main character. She was in White Lotus season 3.
Yep.
Oh, is she
Country Bob?
She's
Train Daddy's wife.
She's not Country Bob. She's the one who...
She was Country Bob.
No, Country Bob is Leslie
no.
Bibb.
That's right.
No,
Leslie
which one is she? Sorry.
The one who goes and has the fling with...
Oh, the celebrity girl.
No, the other one. She's
the
a
only
lawyer
one you're
from
not
New York.
saying. The one who's...
The lawyer from New York that has to jump out the window.
Yeah. Of course.
And
okay,
she's like a hater.
Yes. She's going through a divorce.
Yeah, or she had just gotten divorced or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this show has just clutched me. And it comes on Sunday nights. You have to watch. You guys can now binge it because the season's over. But I mean, every Sunday night, I'm like, nobody bother me. I've got my headphones on, the memes, the TikToks. And I like to watch a show and then go onto social media to see all the chatter. And so it's, if you guys don't know what it's about, it's historical fiction. It's about the Gilded Age in New York. It's the rise of capitalism, the Industrial Revolution. The Russells are a main fixture family, and it's supposed to be portraying the Vanderbilts. So you can loosely follow the lives of the Vanderbilts to see what's going to happen in the story. But what's really interesting and what I love about this is for one, I had no idea about the Black elite. it is this segment, this silo in New York with wealthy Black elite that have their own balls and their own social gatherings. And then you kind of see how it does cross over, but you're still in an age, it's like the mid to late 1800s. So there's still racism, but it's not like when they were in the South. And it's just absolutely, it is so good. You got inventions coming up where people are literally like rag to riches stories, like so good.
It sounds good. And I'm committing. I'm going to start.
Start
I
tonight.
gotta keep
Start
going.
tonight.
And then text me.
And I love a binge.
Oh,
so
you're so
I know
lucky.
it. Aren't you jealous?
I'm
that
so
I get to
jealous.
watch it as a binge for
And
the
I
first
wonder
time.
what about season 3 made it, because nothing really tracked on social media for the first 2 seasons. It wasn't really getting a ton of that hype. Now I keep seeing things. I'm like, no, I don't want a spoiler. Like it has catapulted.
It has. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because Carrie Coon was on
Maybe.
White Lotus and White Lotus had so much traction that people started talking about her. That's Bertha. Because if you had been watching, you're like, no way, that's Bertha. Then people are like, wait, what? And I think that connected it. So obviously I like that one. But did you guys watch Sirens?
Yes.
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 It was great.
That was one of the best shows.
White Lotus vibes, a little.
Yep.
Quick.
Great.
Yep.
What, like 5-6 episodes?
Yes.
Maybe 8? I don't
So
know.
good.
I got into it by the first one or two, or the first one I stopped after and was like, I took a break. And then the rest I just did all in a row.
I
Yeah.
thought it was great. And I love that actress.
Yes.
She's in everything.
Which
She's
one?
in season 2 of White Lotus.
yep, that one.
Yeah.
She was in the Perfect Couple or The Perfect Murder, the one about the Hamptons. Remember that one?
She was.
Yes.
She's in a few things.
Yes, she's so
She's one of those
good.
actresses you recognize, but you don't know
Yes.
first name
And
basis.
yes.
And then
Yes.
also obviously Kevin Bacon and Julianne Moore.
So good.
And I love The Wealth. I love seeing The Wealth.
Yeah.
I love seeing the Hamptons.
Well, was it the
Yeah.
Hamptons?
I've seen
It's a
that
fake
Or
house.
Montauk.
I looked it up.
I think it was Montauk.
It's not a
Right.
real place. It's a made up city that's supposed to be like Martha's Vineyard or
Well,
whatever.
it was reminiscent of all
Yes.
those places.
Yes, that's what they were going for.
But I highly recommend Sirens. I loved it. I told Charlie to watch it. I was like, you'll like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I have assignments,
Yes.
but I think we really want to get into this interview. I'm very excited to talk to Brittney about what she does in a day to day. And let's start at the beginning. What got you into law?
What got me into law? So I feel like everybody has that kid who, maybe not everybody, but sometimes where a teacher says, okay, that kid needs to be a lawyer. Like that was just me from childhood. I liked to talk. I liked to debate. I always was kind of thinking outside the box. So it was probably not a huge surprise when I decided to go to law school, but really what kind of put me there was I kind of took the LSAT a little bit on a whim. That's the law school admissions test, and said, if I do well enough, I'll apply to law school and kind of go from there. And then the rest is kind of history. So graduated college. I wasn't one of those people who went straight from college to law school. I took a couple of years in between.
To travel.
And there was some traveling for sure. And then to law school I went. So I wanted the brain stimulation. That's probably what it really came down to. And I knew that I would be in a field that had a lot of interaction, people interaction. And the law seemed to fit that.
But how did you decide what type of law you're going to do?
So that part is a little bit harder to answer because I usually say I didn't choose it, it chose me. I took a family law course in law school. I did a family law internship in law school. I did a bunch of different things in law school to kind of test and see what I liked. And then my first job out of law school was a firm that had both bankruptcy and family law happening. And I kind of just went with family law and never turned back. So I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I have ended up liking it. I remember being a law student and having that first internship and saying, oh, this is probably not for me. Like, this is way too high conflict. That it probably felt that way, a little overwhelming at the time because I didn't have the skill set or know everything that I know now that makes it, easier to digest those things. But yeah, I've only ever done family law.
Yeah. And can you kind of explain like what encompasses family law? Like what do you do? Like what are the type of cases that you would do?
Sure. So I would say probably maybe 70 to 80% of my practice is divorce. Divorce encompasses a whole slew of things, right? There could be custody issues within that, financial issues within that. Then there's also guardianships. That is another practice area within family law. Prenuptial agreements, adoptions, child support, modifications, all of that would be part of my day-to-day.
Do you feel passionate about this career path and about family and the kids that you work with and the people that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, I have such respect for my clients. When somebody's consulting with me and on the phone with me, they have thought about this. They've talked to their friends and family. It might have taken them years to pick up the phone and call me. A traumatic incident. They're going through kind of the deepest trenches of their life, and just takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage. So I just have such respect for my clients and when I'm talking to them initially, because it takes just a lot of courage to take that step. It's not something that comes lightly. Nobody is exchanging vows on the beach or at the altar thinking that one day they're going to be on the phone with me. And I always keep that in the back of my head.
That's interesting. Nobody thinks that this is what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos kind of did. So,
well,
okay,
a
this
prenup
summer,
could matter.
Okay, right. They reported that it took 2 years to do this prenup. Now, I have a couple of questions. Do you do extreme wealth or do you work in that type of area? And tell us some reasons why it would take 2 years to do this.
We do some high net worth cases, but that isn't the lion's share of what I do. Prenuptial agreements, when we're doing prenups, typically there is some level of high net worth involved, or else you're likely not going to need a prenup. Why it took 2 years, I am not sure.
Let's speculate.
Tea time. I mean, she's obviously asking for.
Right. And she's negotiating.
I imagine that
as a smart woman would.
Sure. I imagine that piece of it was because of going back and forth on her negotiating potential payouts based on years or percentages, not necessarily protecting the Amazon or the stock or any of that, because that's all separate property anyways, regardless of there being a prenup or not. There could be a little bit of blending from marriage forward, especially if you're in a community property state, which Nevada is, California is. But I imagine she was just saying, oh, if I make it to this year, I want X amount. And he said, I'll give you Y amount. And they probably continue to go back and forth on it.
Yeah. Any contentious prenups that you've done?
For the most part, the prenup process is not the most adversarial process I deal with. So usually it's, a drafter, I'll do a draft, and then the other side has their own attorney to consult with to go over any, edits or changes or modifications. And every once in a while we go back and forth on terms, but it's not a litigated issue. So it's just going back and forth between attorneys and clients on that.
But as a woman, what are 3 things, let's say it is a high net worth individual that you're marrying, right? What are maybe like 3 things that you want to make sure you're going to have in your prenup to think about? And
yeah. So truly, the biggest thing would be having a time frame in which, if you are married for X amount of years, here's your Y amount of payout, really kind of on an alimony claim to be made whole. The idea behind a prenup, and usually why the income earner or the higher income earner wants it, they want to protect what was theirs prior to date of marriage and their future income going forward, because they've always made that and they're going to continue to make it, and they want to make sure that that is protected. Now, on the other person's side, they're saying, well, what if you catapulted and made even more? after, right? And what if I contributed in some way to that? Or what if we had children and because I stayed home with them, you didn't have to stay home and work, and I should be entitled to, more if that happens. You can't have custodial provisions within a prenuptial agreement, but these are all things you have to contemplate going into a prenup, because the hardest thing with prenups is they're speculative. Nobody knows exactly what the future is going to hold. And same on things like having real estate or property. Usually property is always going to be outlined in a prenup. Schedules on a prenuptial agreement are extremely important because you want to make sure that that agreement is enforceable. So everybody has to have full disclosure of what they have. And that's both assets and debts, so that those could be specifically outlined if there is a divorce. And then otherwise, once you finish your prenup and it's all signed, sealed, and delivered, the goal is you never have to look at it again because you're never going to get a divorce. Just like you never want to look at your life insurance policy again because you're not going to die in a tragic jet ski accident. But divorce is a tragedy, and when it happens, it's a nice tool to rely on.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I know.
It is so fascinating. Have you ever had a case where they call you for divorce and there's an airtight prenup and you're having to mud through this? Yeah,
absolutely. So the first thing we would evaluate is if there obviously are any arguments to overturn the prenuptial agreement. A lot of that is looking, like I said before, about those disclosures if something had not been previously disclosed. And then otherwise, our case law is going to enforce the agreement. So I've had to tell clients, I know this is what you want, but this is what you signed of sound mind. There's no contract out. There's no other legal maneuver. And this is what you're going to be left with. Good luck. It's time to get a job.
Because
oh my gosh.
Well, you happen to represent men. Is it weighted more men than women?
So I do have more male clients than female.
And why is that, do you think?
My best answer is that men tend to specifically seek out a female divorce attorney, and women just seek out whatever divorce attorney they want. The reason for that is because there is so much, there's a lot of perceived, whether it's accurate or not, gender bias in the family court system. And for a male coming in, I believe that their hope is a female attorney helps to neutralize pieces of that. So I represent both men and women, but it tends to be more men.
Another follow-up question to that, especially with the men and coming in with their prenups. How well does the cheating clause uphold? Do people do that a lot? Is that common?
Not super common.
I was talked out of it.
Not super common. Not from my review on prenups.
Can someone define the cheating clause?
So there can be provisions put within a prenup that say, hey, if your so-and-so is unfaithful, then you're going to receive an additional buyout of X sum, et cetera, which becomes, a big piece of going into a divorce and private investigators and proving, et cetera. It's not something I honestly see a lot of. I think it's a little bit more Hollywood than general practice.
Hollywood as in in the movies Hollywood, or Hollywood as Hollywood's
probably
doing that?
Both.
Okay.
Probably both, but.
Well, now in the age of the digital age, you can easily find somebody cheating.
Sure.
Back in the day, it was a lot harder to figure it out.
Right.
Now it's easier to prove.
Yes.
I'm so interested in can you give us anything about a great case? And let me preface this
divorce
also.
tea.
Let me start with this too. It's two parts. Brittney and I were on the phone today, and she was today's case was pretty good too. And she was saying that one of the marshals stopped her to just tell her that they love when they see her coming into the building because they love to hear her in court.
It was a really nice compliment.
Yes. That is
I did
so
get that
nice.
compliment. And I could tell you it is the first time in my career that a marshal has ever said that to me. So like this doesn't happen often because we have a friendly relationship, of course, with the deputies and the marshals that are in court, but it's not often that we're off the record chatting in that way. And this particular marshal saw me coming through security and happened to be walking into court at the same time. She's like, I just have to grab you. I just have to say it's so fun when I see your name on the docket. I always know I'm going to have, great show and great oral argument. And she's like, and I love it because you're so calm, but then you'll throw just a dagger or insult. And I'm like, they don't even know they just got insulted. And I was like, that's how I am in everyday life.
And tell us what you say. Like, I want to know.
This is why we call her the pot stirrer.
Yes.
Because she does have such a good voice and she's so nice. And then she'll throw a little dagger and then
it's like,
stir it up and
happened?
She's
watch
like, what?
the
And then I just
reactions
sit
of
back
everybody
and say,
around.
So yes, I did get that compliment, which was very nice. So juicy case, fun case. A case, I'll tell you a case that always stands out to me. So I had a mom reach out about terminating her ex-spouse's parental rights. He was not involved. He was not engaging in any of the visitation. So we went through and did what's called the TPR, termination of parental rights. And then she told me that her current husband at that time, so stepdad, then wanted to adopt that child. Those were always... every adoption, while still exciting, is still born out of, trauma and tragedy. So it's adoption days are still special days, but you have to honor kind of where it started and came from. And then as kind of the X factor, dad had a daughter and an ex-spouse who was not involved. We terminated her rights and she adopted stepdaughter. So full
dad
circle.
was the new
circle.
stepdad was losing his rights on the other daughter.
No.
And then
stepdad had custody of his own child, who biological mom, was also not involved.
So
we did the same thing.
Cross adoption.
They did cross adoptions and the new
they
family.
adopted each other's children.
That is not the ending.
That's a nice one. That's a good one.
They just had a baby, their own baby.
Oh, well, that's really nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
Yeah. Shoot.
I feel like a lot of women out there just kind of, the let your husband lead thing, and maybe they don't work and they've been at home raising the kids and they really don't have any knowledge of what their financials are. Who is our mortgage with and who we pay our bills to? And I feel like some of these women are in these marriages and they feel stuck. And because they don't have knowledge of all those things, how do they get out of a bad marriage? So do you have advice for women who are even considering calling you or another attorney about divorce, and what should they have in place before even starting this process?
Sure. So that is actually a lot more common than I would like. It's one of my favorite style of cases because I'm with the underdog and I'm like, I'm about to even this playing field so quick, you don't even know how good life is going to get for you.
That would be fun.
Savage. I have goosebumps.
I would be so fun to be like, I'm going to change your life and we're getting rid of this asshole.
Wow.
We're doing this, girl.
Go on.
So first I would start, sometimes when I consult with people, I always say, divorce is not linear. It's not necessarily a hit and run. I have 30 days to file a claim and then it has to happen. I might consult with somebody. I might not hear from them for a year. I might hear from them the next day, right? But sometimes when we're consulting, we're just coming up with a plan, right? Here's some things that would make sense based on their particular life or lifestyle. One of the first things I say is you start checking the mail every day. You get ahead of the mailbox because bills and access comes in the mail. So if you're being blocked in terms of, he has all the access and that's an online password and I don't know that, you'd be amazed what you can find just starting through the mail. Okay. The other piece I talk about is starting to stockpile what you can in terms of a fund. If that means going to Target and getting $20 cash back each Target run, you continue to start doing that so that you have a little bit of security at the outset. It takes time to get into court, so things don't automate immediately upon the filing. So it's to kind of start cushioning. But the reality when somebody is being essentially financially abused, which is very, very common in the divorce world, is sometimes their point of access to the financials is through a divorce. They're not going to get access until then. Once you're in the divorce proceeding, there's mandatory disclosure. You're going to get access to everything. And for a lot of women, they say, this is the first time I've ever seen this. I didn't even know he had a 401k. I didn't even know he had a credit card bill of over 30 grand. I didn't even know. And so, yeah, that's extremely scary, for clients when they start. And sometimes it's, hey, I've head in the sand approach, but I'm ready now. And I always tell clients too, when we start a conversation, I say, how are you? I know that's a loaded question coming from me because normally the response is, it could be better, right? And I say, I don't say how are you out of, procedural formality. I say how are you because I need to understand what your emotional and mental bandwidth is to get through this mud. Because I can drag you through, but I need you to use your one available limb to kick with me so that we go through this together because it's a team effort.
Wow.
So with these women that have no money, how do they even, they're probably nervous. They probably don't even think I can call an attorney, a lawyer, because I don't have money. I don't have access to an account. I'm also maybe a little bit afraid he's going to find out. So what is the recommendation that you would give from, I'm considering this, but I don't want to tell my spouse yet. I want to start getting my ducks in a row. What's the very first thing that they should do?
Well, starting on the consultation side, when people do not want the other party to find out, typically we have it set so that they're calling in and we're not calling them. And we have it noted in the file system that do not call, do not send email reminder, all of the things, because usually a person who is worried about that, the spouse finding out, usually that person has access to all of their things and monitors what they're doing in that way. So that's something that we set up. In terms of how do you start the process or do anything that costs money if you had zero? Well, first, you don't have to have an attorney to file a divorce. You can file a divorce on your own at the family courthouse. But what we do typically, if somebody comes, they don't have funds, usually it's being borrowed from friends or family, or somebody's helping supplement their start of the case. And then one of the first things we do is we file a motion for what's called sergeant fees. The case law in Nevada says essentially spouse has to be put on equal footing with the breadwinner, and then we get attorney's fees as the case goes forward.
Okay, so ladies, if you are in this boat, or anybody that maybe you don't think you have the funds to hire an attorney, talk to your friends and family. And then from there, your lawyer can help get on even ground with your spouse.
Yeah, and it's one of, because typically in the financial abuse situation, which typically gender-wise is more dominated, that wife is the one being financially abused based on what I see in my practice. It's amazing how that can trend itself towards settlement when the financial abuser realizes he's going to be paying out not only his own attorney's fees, but also his spouse's. So that's a fact that a lot of clients, when I'm consulting with them, say, oh, aha, okay. Because I'm always saying, it feels like it's an impossible road right now, but it's about to start feeling real impossible for him pretty quick.
What are 3 signs that you're being financially abused? Are there women out there who are experiencing this who don't even know, hey, this isn't right?
Yeah. The first thing I
just hear stories about these women who are given very little money for groceries for them and their children, who are given very little money for weekly, and they feel like they're not able to provide for their family, yet they know that their husband is successful and kind of siphoning away all of this money. I imagine that's number one. If you're having trouble providing for your children, when you know your husband is successful.
One of the most extreme examples that I had of that was a client who was consulting, and at that time, husband was going through the grocery list and deducting what wasn't acceptable on a purchase, including tampons.
Are you kidding me?
What?
And saying, I'm not covering that. So
Did she work?
So no, she was a stay at home.
So how was she supposed to pay for her tampons?
Yeah, he would take away from the next week's weekly budget.
That's
That's
disgusting.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
So where do the children come in all of this? Because I feel like your job gets emotional when obviously divorce is emotional, but when there's children involved.
Yeah, definitely. So most of my cases involve a custody piece. And like I said, Nevada favors a shared custody plan where each parent is equally involved. If I wasn't able to get people primary custody, I probably wouldn't have a job, but I still have to outline what the presumption is in Nevada. And it all comes down to the best interest factors. And those factors are inclusive of, big, long laundry list, and, according to the Nevada revised statutes. But essentially, we're looking at developmental needs of the child and the fitness of each parent, if there's been any domestic violence, if there's any alcohol abuse, has there been any need for restraining orders in the case? So when we see things that kind of trend against the best interest and we argue for primary, our job is to convince the judge that the best interest of the minor is not served by equal time with the parent, but better served by primary to one and a limited visitation plan to the other.
So we put some questions. We put the question box up on our Instagram because we knew we were going to be asking you. I have a good one in here.
These are from our good friends on Instagram.
These are from our good friends on Instagram at 3 Best Friends. There's some funny ones in here. But this particular woman says, I live in Arizona. The father of my child lives in Nevada. I never filed for child support. Where do I start?
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
So,
and just for back, because I know who this person is, her child is either like, I think in high school, like freshman or maybe like middle school, it's not a baby.
Yeah. So child support is complex because there can be some interstate type cases where you're dealing with child support between two states because of the location. Usually my suggestion is to always start where the payor is. That would be dad. So that would be opening a case in Nevada. We have our own child support division through the district attorney's office. You can open a child support case for free without an attorney through the DA's office. They deal with collection, enforcement, revoking his license or passport if he doesn't pay, or potentially transferring that case to a more suitable jurisdiction.
Can she get back child support since this child is in high school? Can she say, hey, I never did this, but this child has been in my custody for the last 10 years?
So usually, yes. It would depend if there had been a custody order, if this was just a non-payment on any order or no order ever existed whatsoever, but paternity had to have been established already as well. But yes, there are arrearage cases. Typically, the Nevada court can go back 5 years.
5. Okay. We have another question. Okay. She says, we have been married. I've been married to my spouse for 10 years. He purchased a home prior to our marriage. We're getting divorced, no children. All I want is 50% of the house. Am I entitled to that?
So this is super common and comes up quite a bit. And we have specific case law in Nevada that deals with it. It's called Malmquist. Essentially, if something is purchased prior to the date of marriage, it becomes the sole and separate property of the purchaser. However, all the payments that were made onto that property from date of marriage forward are community. Remember how I explained this pot in the sky type of approach? So there's the case law, Malmquist. What it does is it kind of siphons out what payments were made prior to date of marriage, what the home was worth at the time of marriage versus what payments were made going forward, what it did in terms of changing the equity, how that boils down the percentages. And then ultimately there would be a percentage split where it's here's the equity, X amount is his sole and separate property, Y amount is the community's property, and then that portion is what would be equally divided. So the short answer is no, it's usually not going to be 50% because there's going to be an apportionment from prior to date of marriage, but it's not going to be 0.
Okay. That is something that requires hiring an attorney.
That is a more complex
complex
analysis, yes.
Okay.
What is one thing that you wish every woman or man knew before getting married?
I mean, an impossible answer would be how that person is as a parent, because so much of the sometimes they already are a parent, and I would say, don't take that lightly, but a lot of what we see trend in the divorce between, kind of the years 3 through 7 is because that's when the parties had children and their philosophies and practice on parenting is so divergent that there's no chance to raise children together.
And also when you feel like your spouse is another child and you're raising another child, you need a partner, not another child to take care of and cook and clean. And we need to do this together. Like I've got my hands full. I also, and I don't know if this is an unpopular thing to say, but yes, marriage is hard, right? There's ups and downs and all these things, but I don't think it's that hard. I don't understand, marriage is hard and you just get ready. It's going to be hard. Yes, we're going to have our disagreements, but you have open communication and you genuinely love somebody. It should not be that hard. I feel like I married my best friend. And yes, we have arguments and there's certain things I don't like and whatever it might be. Everybody has that with another person. And there's other things that are thrown into the mix that you're not expecting in life. But if that's your person, you do it together. And yes, it's hard, but when you have somebody to do it with, it's not like, oh God, this is the worst thing ever. It's so hard.
Couldn't agree more. I love being married.
I do too.
I love being married. I've been married for 16 years. I moved in with my husband right after college in 2004. So it has been, is that?
No.
We don't do the
21 years.
21 years, Kelly.
21 years I have lived with him and I still dig him.
And you're only 30.
Yeah.
That's
And
weird.
I'm
that's
only
weird.
30.
How does that work? At 9 years old,
out.
we moved
But
in
honestly,
together.
after 21 years of living with this guy, he is still my best friend. Yeah, he does shit that pisses me off, obviously, and vice versa. But every day I say, you're my best friend and I'm obsessed with you and I love you so much. And it's true.
Yeah.
I think the piece that I take away from that comment too, though, is yes, marriage can be hard or whatever. That annoys me. But when you're not in the mindset of, I would throw this all away, right? Like it's just easier to know we just move through things.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think that there's maybe a different generation that says, oh, this kind of got icky. This doesn't feel good. I'm out. And we see that in the divorce trends. So based on aging, it's most of my clientele is not necessarily, has been married 30 plus years, right? They went through and are still going through it together because they said, we make the choice to be married and love each other. And there's always more good than bad. But I think there's a generation probably younger than us that says, oh, wait, was that toxic? I'm out of here. And it's a little bit easier to have the out in the back of your mind, which can escalate things. But still not taken lightly in that way, but nobody wants to or rushes to divorce in that way. But I think there's just a different mindset.
Mm-hmm. Well, when our good friend Addie was getting married, or when she was still dating, because Addie was dating the entire time, 20 years that I'd been friends with her, she was dating. She just got married.
We saw Addie cycle through.
And I kept telling her, I was like, it's supposed to be fun. It's not it shouldn't be hard. It should be fun. And your conversations should be, you talk through them. If it's not fun and the open communication isn't there.
Especially in the beginning.
But even right before you're going to get engaged, that's a couple years in, it should not be hard by that point. Yeah. There should be no serious
that's supposed
conflicts.
To be the lightest of the light.
and it should be a glimpse into what you're going to have in the future.
Yeah.
So if you're not still having fun before you're getting engaged, this is not the person for you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what I think about? Fairly often, we have a fairly tight group of girlfriends that we are mom friends. Most of us met through the kids and we do a lot of things together. And we're all in our 40s, I will say, and we've all been married for over a
10 plus
decade,
years,
10
yeah.
plus years, everybody. We have no good friends that are divorced. And I think about our parents, and most of our parents are divorced.
It's a different generation. They're boomers, but you want to know what, sadly, we might start to see it. And you could tell us a little bit more on this too. Is it when the kids are graduating high school?
We see some of that. We do see some of it
our kids are still young.
Where people held out until the kids were out of the house. Not a ton. Like I said, I think the younger years we see more on that trend. But yes, some where it's like I just waited until the kids graduated.
I just feel like, what about the women whose husbands are doing all these bad things and the financial abuse and they're cheating on them and they're all this stuff. And there's the threat of, if you ever leave me, I will ruin you. I will take the children away from you. And they
trapped.
really feel trapped and they believe them. And what do you give?
What can you say?
What can you say about that?
What's the advice you give?
It's not going to happen. They can't. That's just the last straw of control when he thinks you're 1 foot out the door. So he's going to throw the kids as the last dangling carrot because he knows that that's what matters most to that individual because they put up with so much of his nonsense. Over time. So it's like, oh, let me say that I'm going to take the kids from you. So that's actually probably a good sign. It means he's threatened and he's worried that you're probably out, right? And what I will also say though is, while nobody takes it lightly, I've never had any client regret it ever.
Regret filing,
getting a divorce. There's never been regret. This is the new path. This is the new path forward. Now, is it hard to go through? Absolutely. Does it get worse before it gets better? Yes. Could it be tough, having to co-parent with this individual going forward? Yes. Do you regret getting that divorce? Absolutely not.
God, that's great.
That's great.
That is great. I think that we got a lot of really great advice. Especially for our good friends, whether you're getting married and you might be thinking about a prenup or you have a partner that wants a prenup, or maybe you're like, it's time to pull that trigger. What do I do?
Yeah.
Do we have time
for a lightning round? I have lightning round questions.
Yeah.
Quick questions.
Okay.
And just quick, punchy. I want to hear your very first, and I'll only go through like maybe 5 of these. Okay. What's worse, splitting the assets or splitting the friend group?
Friend group.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you're going to get 50-50 on the assets. It's fine.
All right. One red flag you can spot in a marriage from a mile away.
Oh, think about people we know.
Don't know the passcode on their phone.
Oh. I was going to say arguing in public,
Wow. Okay. Prenup, romantic buzzkill, or grown woman genius move?
Genius move.
Love it. More satisfying, winning a big case or watching your client finally glow up post-divorce?
Glow up.
I love it. Okay. Be honest. Have you ever mentally high-fived a client for finally leaving that man?
It's not mental. I've embraced clients leaving the courtroom and had them sob in my arms. And I said, we did it.
Oh,
I know.
I love
right?
it.
So fulfilling.
I love it. It's so fulfilling.
I mean, this is why Brittney went first.
I mean, I just feel smart for having such a smart friend.
This was fun. Thanks. These were great questions, you guys.
Good. Yeah. Did you like them?
That was fun.
Yeah. Well, this is me and you, Brie. This is our first interview.
Yes.
And I want to know how did we do?
Yeah, I liked it. I think the questions were great and interesting. And
I hope our good friends loved them. And I hope that they were very insightful and helpful. And obviously, if you need Brittney's assistance, we will share some.
Where can they find you, Brittney?
I am at Right Lawyers. So I am Brittney at rightlawyers.com. That's my contact.
BRITTNEY
at RIGHT.
Lawyers.
Wrong marriage, right lawyers.
That's right.
Oh, catchy.
Catchy. Thank you, good friends. We hope you enjoyed our first interview. We'll be back more with Brie and Kelly.
Can't wait to hear you next.
I don't even know who's next.
I know. Who should go next? Good friends.
I don't know. Who should go next? I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.